And like I said, I've got lots of other people that I follow, and everybody's kind of all over the place with what they think is best, whether it's intermittent fasting or keto or carnivore, different variety of all these. But what I am looking for is the commonality and the common thread. And it's so helpful to have the science backed information. That's what I look for. Hello, friends, and welcome to the Honeycast. Today, I am just answering your questions. I really appreciate your feedback and your questions. I want to answer those. So today is just going to be a Q&A day, and I already have about 3 or 4 questions that I would like to answer. The first question is on one of my podcasts, and we will reference that podcast. I was talking about grounding and how I use a grounding mat. I'm actually sitting on a grounding mat right now. And also how I try to go out and get barefooted daily with my feet in the soil or in the grass. And the question was, how long should I be grounding? And then I also want to go into the benefits of grounding. I wanted to refresh my brain. It always helps me to get refreshed on why I need to do this so that it just helps me create that habit and be more intentional. So with grounding, the benefits are that we are connecting with the earth. And I like it. I was listening to someone, I think it was a podcast called The Minimalist. He was talking about how we get in line with the heartbeat of the earth. And basically, there's science that's going on. There's ions from the earth and from the sky. And grounding is it's been scientifically proven to help reduce inflammation, to help reduce cortisol, to help us shift from our sympathetic nervous system to our parasympathetic nervous system, which is to shift out of fight or flight. So it helps us relax. It can help with mood. It has been scientifically proven to help with autoimmune issues and actually wound healing. So the way that I ground, I prefer grounding outside. My studies have shown that if it's best to really ground outside or in a lake or at the ocean, at the beach, but using the grounding mats, using grounding patches. I just purchased grounding rocks. Yes, they're special rocks that repel the let's see what's it called, EMF, electromagnetic field. There are so many EMFs bombarding us today from all of our electronics that interfere with just the energy cycles in our body. And so the more grounding that we can do, the more, and think about it, the more grounded, the less inflammation, the more in line with how our bodies were created we will be. So for me personally, I like to sit outside in my chair with my feet on the ground and read. I try not to have my phone with me, or I'll just walk around. So I do a combination of both. So I'm going to suggest 30 minutes, but I think more is better. And then I like to use a grounding mat to stand on or to sit on like I'm sitting right now. I have clients that use grounding mats to sleep on. I have my bamboo sheets that I am so in love with, and I do not want to put a mat on top of that. I think I love my sheets so much, I just want to be with my sheets. However, I did get some grounding rocks. I will let you guys know about those. I only ordered one set, and you're actually supposed to order 2, one at the head of your bed and one at the foot of your bed. And these rocks they're a type of rock, and they actually stay in the bag. You don't take them out, and they repel the EMFs. So I'm actually going to get that other set. I should have read my directions better before I should have ordered 2. So that's what we do with grounding. And the main reason why we're wanting to do that, and for me personally, is I want to age well and I want less inflammation. I want to be the healthiest that I can be. I care about that so much more now than I ever have before. I guess when I was younger, it was more about how my clothes fit or the scale or how I look. And of course, I did want to be strong, but I care more now than ever. I am 56, postmenopausal. I have lots of kids, several grandkids, many, hopefully more grandkids coming, and lots of life to live. I want to live it the best I can. So I want to work with the things that God's given us to be healthy. And this is something that's free. Yes, you can order a grounding mat or grounding rocks. And I just heard that the grounding patches were actually the best that you put on your feet. So I may even be looking into that, and I'll link all of that in the show notes. But I did want to answer that question. Okay, second question, what resources do I use? And I'm going to tell you that I am a voracious researcher, reader, listen to podcasts, YouTube. I listen to people across the board. I don't just listen to one camp of people, but I will say that my primary research, my primary focus is women in midlife. I am very interested in the newer science that's coming out. Women in midlife, and even women, there are not a lot of studies about women in midlife and or even puberty, pregnancy, postpartum, perimenopause, postmenopause. We are now doing brain scans. We are now learning so much about the female anatomy that's very different from the male anatomy. And so I do focus a lot on midlife health, weight loss, hormones, and all of that, but I still have a lot of different resources. So I'm just going to throw out some names of some resources that I go to on a regular basis. How about that? Because my book list is like, it is huge. And I don't always make it through all the books. Sometimes I'll scan them. Sometimes I'll go to their podcast and kind of get the gist of it. But there are a few people that I really appreciate their contribution, their science, and I am also certified through one of these, which is called Flipping 50. And that resource is a wonderful resource. I also will, of course, Pearl and Serene Trim Healthy. They have the cutting edge information as well. I also listen to Dr. Stacy Sims. I'm in the middle of a certification with her. It's called Menopause 2.0. Fascinating and wonderful information. Amy Hornman is another one you've probably heard on the potty, and she is just a rock star. She's got so much great information out there, especially about thyroid. I've learned so much. I actually signed up for her lab course so that I could read and understand lab work. I am just now reading something called The Menopause Brain, which is fantastic. It is fantastic. As a matter of fact, I listened to a podcast where I believe her name is Lisa something. She was on this podcast talking about her book, but she was talking about the brain and the different areas of the brain in different seasons of life and how things change and what that means to us and how that affects our behavior and our mood. It is so fascinating. I've been telling everybody about this podcast. I'm going to link it here in the show notes because it is so life-changing for me, honestly, to find out that number one, no, I'm not going crazy and there's something wrong with me. And I can tell that to others. And then also to learn exactly what is going on and why, and how can we best support our body. And more importantly, how can we ask for the support that we need from our doctors and our physicians and whatnot. And of course, how I can be that support to my clients. JJ Virgin is another person that I follow. And like I said, I've got lots of other people that I follow, and everybody's kind of all over the place with what they think is best, whether it's intermittent fasting or keto or carnivore, different variety of all these. But what I am looking for is the commonality and the common thread. And it's so helpful to have the science-backed information. That's what I look for. Dr. Mary Claire Haver, who I believe is changing the face of this planet with her menopause, which I so appreciate that. I don't agree and line up with what everybody here that I'm telling you what they believe. I will say that I look at the science-based information, and that's where I get my information. And then I'm also looking at each individual woman and saying, what is going to work for her? Let's figure that out. And so I love having all of the different resources that I can utilize to really help me figure out what I need to do for myself and my clients. So that's a great question. And like I said, if you saw my book list, it's all over the place. But those are the main ones that I really am excited about. Okay, two more questions. One was about vitamin D levels. And I had mentioned Vitamin D is important for us to make sure that you have that optimized for many reasons. And I just learned a new reason besides it's helpful for hormones and even weight loss and immune system, but it also slows down and or prevents diabetes. Making sure you have that vitamin D level optimized. It is just a crucial vitamin that we can get depleted in even if we're in the sun. Even if we're in the sun all the time. I get mine checked every 3 months. And the months that I'm in the sun, I still need to supplement. I just take less. But the months that I'm not in the sun, I am taking, me personally, I take 10,000 IUs a day. That's during the off season. During the summer, I take 5. And I keep my vitamin D level, finally got it up. It was so hard to get it up. You really want it above 50, but 80 is a sweet spot. 80 is a sweet spot. Some people can go up a little bit higher than that. My practitioner doesn't mind if somebody's up around 100, but you can get too much vitamin D. So you do want to be careful with that. It's a fat-soluble vitamin. And if your levels are elevated, then you don't need to take vitamin D. So the best thing to do is to get it tested. Don't just start taking vitamin D. Let's see what the numbers are. Let's see how you're absorbing it. I started with a regular, just a D3. I could not get my levels up. I changed to a D3, K2, and was able to get them up. And I have kept it up, like I said, between 70 and 80, which is really what I'm wanting to do. So that was the question about the vitamin D. And lastly, how do I use essentials, and can you just take them anytime? So when I'm talking about essentials, I'm talking about the Trim Healthy essential amino acids. Prior to their brand, I was using a brand called Perfect Health Aminos, which I really enjoyed their brand. But as Trim Healthy came out with theirs, I am a big believer in Trim Healthy products. I know they pick the best, and I know they are optimizing their powders so that they're highly, highly bioavailable. So I shifted from using Perfect Aminos. Essential amino acids are essential for us for basically everything that our body is doing to keep us alive. We need essential amino acids, and we get those from red meat. That's where we have all the essential amino acids. We have partial essential amino acids in all different plant foods and different types of protein sources. But those essential amino acids, they are broken down forms of protein that your body just absorbs. What I love about the essentials is that it doesn't go through the digestive system. It doesn't require insulin to absorb your essential amino acids. It just goes straight into our system, and it goes straight into our muscles and feeds our muscle, which is key for midlife for many reasons, not just weight loss, which it does fuel that when our muscles, we're building muscles, we build metabolism, but really for overall cellular health, we need those essential amino acids to make hormones, believe it or not. So with the essential amino acids, here's the great news. You can use them anytime. You cannot overuse those. And are there better ways to use it? Or maybe are there ways that might serve you better? So, couple questions. Do I have to work out to use them? Absolutely not. I use the essentials every day. Why? Because I want to make sure that I'm getting my protein needs met. I personally shoot for, and I do say for my clients, we're going to shoot for at least 100. If somebody's at 60, we'll work up to 80, and then we'll work up to 90. If you're working out and with weights, you might need more than that, maybe up to 120. And so part of my protein protocol is to utilize all varieties of protein, you guys. I'm using essential amino acids. I'm using plant-based protein. I'm using powder supplements. I'm using real food. And all of those variety are helping me get my protein needs met. Those essentials are an easy, quick way to get in protein. And it's tasty, it's light. I personally do it at least once a day, if not twice. The best way to use those if you're really wanting protein muscle synthesis, or actually muscle synthesis, which is muscle repair and building, is to use those essentials after your intense workout. You don't necessarily have to use those after a walk or after a less intense workout, although you can, and it's okay. But specifically after that workout where you have just depleted your muscles stores and you're lifting heavy or you're doing some type of hit, something like that where it's intense, you're getting breathless, but especially strength training, there's a window that you have after that strength training session to really just bathe them and nourish your muscles so that they go, yes, I get everything that I need, and I'm going to grow, and I'm going to synthesize what I need to synthesize. I'm going to do exactly what I need to do to build and repair. And so using those essentials after your workout is key. And I do suggest using the essentials. I like using the full amount because I'm getting the leucine that I need. Another way that you could do it is you could do half the amount before and half the amount after. I know a lot of people that actually like to use a full serving and sip on it the whole time. I think the best way to do that would be to either have it right after your workout, to sip on it throughout your workout, or to have it half before and half after. Those are just different ways that you can support your muscle. So if that gets too confusing to you, just have one serving a day. And if you're working out, make sure it's after your workout. Another way that I utilize the essentials is I like to have an afternoon snack. And I don't always love to have animal-based protein in that afternoon time. I really love eating just fruits and vegetables or an apple. And so what I like to do is I like to use the essentials in that afternoon snack time. It's also great in certain teas because it's got a little citric acid or it's citric flavor. So I would like to put it in my afternoon tea in the winter. I also like to put a teaspoon in my cottage cheese with lemon, and the lemon is tangy and it's going to help my insulin levels. I like to add some berries to that. Those are the basic ways that I'm using the essentials, but I'm going to tell you there's really no wrong way to utilize those. I think they're a great way. They aren't as heavy to me as a protein shake. The difference between the essentials and a optimized protein is pretty significant in taste, flavor, not necessarily profile, because the optimized protein powders has all the essential amino acids in there as well. But it's just a different, you're kind of looking at apples and oranges. And if I want something lighter, for instance, if I'm going to go play pickleball, I'm going to do an very light kefir shake, and maybe a banana in there before my pickleball. I want to get some carbs in there. And then right after I get in the car and I'm drinking my essentials and I come home and I have a nice lunch. That's the way I like to use those. So that's a great question. Good news is there's no wrong way to use those essentials. Thanks for asking the questions. Keep them coming, friends.